So what's up guys, my name's Ash and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video guys, we've got some custom tactics and player instructions for the 4-2-2 formation, but just before we get started guys, I'd like to apologise for the lack of videos recently. As I'm sure you guys are aware, FIFA is coming to the end of its cycle, which means making content becomes a bit more pointless, especially when it's things like tactics, but you know, I still want to keep you guys posted for those of you that are playing the game. So we are going to be doing like a reduced schedule with videos. We're not going to be doing loads, but we're also not going to not post at all. So it's going to be like probably every couple of days that we post a video up until EAFC 24. But yeah, these 4-2-2 tactics should help you guys out if you are still grinding the game. And with all that aside guys, let's get right into the video. It's time for footy. So if you guys want any FIFA 23 coins, make sure you check out MMOXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're fast, cheap and reliable. And if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Okay then guys, so starting off with the custom tactics. For the defensive style, I do like to have this on balanced. Now the reason we have this on balanced is because it does give us the best control over our defense. So when we want to press our opponent and be a bit more aggressive, we are able to do that, and then when we want to drop back, be a little bit more passive in our defense, we can also do that. So it does give us the control that the other settings will not give us. Moving on to the defensive width guys, we have this on 34. The reason we have this on 34 is so that our defense is primarily narrow and compact, which will stop our opponents being able to just attack us right through the middle. It means we won't leave as many gaps and spaces, but the reason we don't lower the width any more than this is because it's still important to maintain some of the natural width of the formation to cover the wider areas in case an opponent tries an attack down the wing. So we want to be narrow in our defense, but not too narrow. Moving on to the depth guys, we have this on 65. The reason for this is when we lose possession of the ball, we're able to quickly regain that possession higher up the pitch. We're able to be a bit more aggressive, and it allows us to maintain that pressure on our opponents. I don't like having the depth too low because, for example, when you are attacking and then you lose the ball, I don't like the idea of my defensive line already being super far back because it does invite pressure. So depth is a preference, but I like it on 65. Now moving on to build-up play guys, we have this on balance. Now the reason we have this on balance is because it's the most consistent and varied form of build-up. When you have this on balance, you can pick and choose when and where you use each style of build-up. So for example, you can use slow build-up and then you can use fast build-up. It really allows you to pick and choose when and where you use each style. For example, if you use something like slow build-up, you always have to build up slowly, and if you use fast build-up, you always have to build up quickly. But with this, you can have a balance. Moving on to chance creation guys, I think it's absolutely very necessary to have direct passing. The reason for this is it makes your attacking players bunch up against the opposition defenders, making it very easy to isolate a specific player and do a 1v1 play. This will allow you to create a lot of chances in the penalty box. Players will also make those extra movements in the box so you can get off the extra pass to guarantee the goals. Direct passing is extremely important in my opinion. Now moving on to the width guys for the attack, I have this on 48. Now the reason we do this is because we don't want our width to be too narrow to the point where it feels like your players are sat on top of each other. But on the flip side, we don't want our width to be too high to the point where it feels more like a 4-2-4 formation, because if we wanted that, we would just use that. So we have 48 width, so it is nice and balanced. Speaking of balance, for players in box, we have this on 5 because it's bang in the middle. This means we do get a few players into the box to finish off those chances, but we don't overcommit everybody on the team to the point where we're going to get counter-attacked if we lose possession. As for corners and free kicks guys, we have these both on 1 because there is a set piece routine that I use which requires these to be on 1. There is a link to that in the top right hand corner of the screen if you guys are interested. Now moving on to the players you want to use guys, you might see that we have Lacazette in the team. That is just because of that objective. I think it's one of the footy's weak objectives where you have to use Lacazette or something, so that's why we're using him. But for the strikers, we have them on stay central and mixed attack. We have them on stay central because we don't want these players drifting off into those wider areas. We want them to stay in those central positions so they're always in the correct areas and we know where they are when we need them. If they're drifting out wide, they're not going to be in the shooting positions and they're not going to be much of a threat for us. We also have them on mixed attack as opposed to getting behind. This is a preference thing and I like it because I feel like you get more versatile movements out of these players when they are on mixed attack. They seem to make more dynamic runs. Sometimes they'll come short, other times they'll run in behind. I just feel like you get a lot more out of them and attacking is a lot easier. That being said, if you'd prefer to have them on getting behind, so they're always looking to make those runs in behind, you can use that, but my warning to those players would be it can be very predictable if you are coming up against a good opponent, because they will track those runs quite consistently. Now moving on to the left cam and the right cam, guys, we have them on comeback on defense and get into the box across. Comeback on defense is super important in my opinion, because when you have them on comeback on defense, it will make this team defend in a 4-4-2 shape. Now some people still have some confusion about this, but when we are attacking, this will be the shape. The 4-2-2, the formation that we're using, it will still maintain that 4-2-2 shape, which is what you want. But as you'll notice, when we lose the ball, if you take a look at the two CDMs, there is a big gap right next to them, and that's not very good when we are defending, because it's a lot of space for your opponent to exploit down the wing. When you put these players on comeback on defense, they will sit right next to the right CDM and the left CDM, meaning there is less space for the opponents to attack, and it makes it much easier to break. It makes you much more difficult to break down. So we will defend in a 4-4-2 shape, but we will attack in a 4-2-2. We also have these players on get into the box for cross, so they're not hesitant to get into those penalty areas, God, I really cannot speak today. So yeah, they won't be hesitant and they will commit into the box to get more involved in the play. Now moving on to the left CDM, guys, as you can see, I got that 97 Torre. I got him in a 80+ player pick, so that was quite lucky. But yeah, for the left CDM, the more defensive minded player, the more defensive capable player, we have him on stay back, cut passing lanes and cover center. We have him on stay back, so he's always staying back by default, so we've always got like that extra security in the defense. We also have him on cut passing lanes, so he's always looking to intercept those passes and annoy your opponent. This also allows us to kickstart attacks a lot of the time, because they will often cut out those key passes, which will allow you to start your own counter attack. We also have him on cover center, so he does defend those central areas. We don't need this player to cover the wings. Now moving on to the right CDM, guys, I have like a more box-to-box style player. We have him on the default settings and cover center. We have him on the default settings because he is a more box-to-box style player, which means he will attack and defend. So we kind of want to give him a bit of a free roll, so we kind of just leave him alone. The only important thing is that we have him on cover center, so he does defend those central areas. Moving on to the left back, guys, I like to commit one of my fullbacks forward. This is because I said this formation is quite narrow, which means it can be very useful to add a wider option to make your attack less predictable, because if you have players in the narrow areas and the wide areas, it's very difficult for your opponent to defend both of those options. So balanced attack and overlap means this fullback will go on the attack and make the overlapping runs to add extra width. As for the right back, guys, my more defensive fullback, I have him on stay back and overlap. We have him on stay back, so we've always got at least 3 defenders back at a time, so we're nice and defensively sound, but we have him on the overlap run type, so when we do send him on a run forward, he'll make the overlapping runs to add extra width to the team. As for the 2 centre backs, guys, and the goalkeeper, I leave them on the default settings, but if you want, you can put the goalkeeper on comes for crosses and sweeper keeper. It is completely up to you. But yeah, guys, they're my custom tactics and player instructions for the 4-2-2. If you guys have enjoyed or found this useful, please be sure to drop this a like, sub to the channel if you are new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And with all that aside, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out.